Calls have been growing for school boards to change the names of schools that honor people with a questionable past. The Toronto District School Board is conducting a citywide review into school names to better reflect the diversity of the city. While one community advocate says it's a necessary move, she adds that much more needs to be done.
As a Black community, we're not going to be pacified by just the name change, right? This is something, it's a small step in the right direction, but it's a beginning step.
TDSB trustee Chris Moyse has big hopes, regardless of how small the step is considered by some.
When we look at equity, and inclusiveness, it's important to make sure that kids and staff feel safe in the schools that they attend.
Late last month, the TDSB approved a motion to review school names. In a news release, they said in part, this plan aims to improve the naming and renaming process for schools to ensure they better represent the diverse people, cultures, and history of Toronto, including but not limited to Indigenous and Black leaders and the contemporary values of the city. The board who will conduct the review will consist of students, parents and guardians, educators, community members, and experts in anti-racism work. There are nearly 600 schools to go through.
In my ward, we have Jarvis Collegiate. And for some people, the history of Jarvis is very harmful to Indigenous students.
In addition, because we are building such a small number of additional schools in Toronto, it is very difficult for us to name schools after individuals that actually reflect the current mosaic of our Toronto community.
It has taken a full year for them to come up with this review, and it's just the beginning of a very long process.
The co-founder of Black Lives for Change, Efia Techianen, thinks this move should have taken place earlier, considering the calls for change, which truly gained momentum last year following the death of George Floyd. Techianen was one of many who rallied to rename the former Vaughan Secondary School after Hodan Maleeha, the late Somali-Canadian journalist from the area. Benjamin Vaughan was an 18th century slave owner. While that was a York Region District School Board decision, others are now following suit. The Durham Board says it's looking at renaming a public school named after former Governor General Julie Payette after reports she allegedly presided over a toxic work environment at Rideau Hall. Techianen says she hopes other steps will soon follow.
We want representation, we want policy and procedural change, we want students and staff to feel safe, we want to know that those who stand up in the face of racism are being protected and uplifted.
The report is expected to be completed by the end of next month. The Governance and Policy Committee will vote on the findings, followed by the board. And if majority agrees, it will be up to the TDSB staff to come up with an implementation plan.